You're listening to WUSM Hattiesburg. It's time for the Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap Up. The Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap Up is a look at the events Southern Miss Student Media covered throughout the week and the events Southern Miss Student Media is working on for next week.
All right. Good afternoon, or I guess it's really good noon. It's 12 o'clock here in Hattiesburg. Welcome to the Weekly Wrap Up. I'm your host today, Andy Borelli, Editorial Director of the Student Prince. In the studio with me on this, I can't really see because of the blinds. It looks like it's a cloudy Friday afternoon. Cloudy Friday noon, excuse me. I'm not usually on here at noon. I got Miss Adeline Fields, Miss Claire Hendricks, and Mr. Carter Crow, all great leaders of SM2. I tried to pause for suspense.
You stuttered.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Recognition for your business or product, appreciation from a dedicated audience, and establishing yourself as a caring member of the Hattiesburg community SM2 are only a few of the benefits of sponsoring programming on WUSM. In addition, our very cost-effective underwriting rates are tax deductible. To learn more about the upsides of underwriting programming on WUSM, call 601-266-4287.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
What is dedication?
My daughter is biological and my son is adopted. I love them both so much. From the morning when you wake up to putting them to bed at night and every moment in between. I think a parent's job is to protect our children but also prepare them for the world so they become good, kind human beings.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
All right, we're back now, and I looked at the clock. It is 12:02. So good afternoon, everybody. Now it sounds more natural.
Ooh.
It sounds right, doesn't it?
It's fitting.
Well, I'm going to get us started off on the show today with the Student Prince, as always. Student Prince comes out every Thursday. You can find it in bins all across campus, including I think we got 5 bins in the Union Complex. Got one in Wilbur Hall lobby. We got one in the lobby of Hillcrest Hall right by the kitchen. You can also find them in the Duff Athletic Center by the parking garage by Lucky Day, and even got them in the Payne Center. So if you're working out and need a break, just pick you up a copy. A couple big stories. Joshua Cathy, who's the executive chef of Eagle Dining here at Southern Miss, which we all love, is advancing to a national culinary competition. We wish him the best of luck in his endeavors. The Mississippi Real ID deadline is approaching. Turning the page through there. Stars for a Beatles biopic has been revealed. Looking forward to that because there's nothing nobody loves more than the Beatles, except for me. I can think of about 30 other bands I like better. Hey, and Ringo's my favorite Beatle too. Everybody's least favorite Beatle. Hot take. That's the one y'all get from me today. And then also, I myself have an article about Lee Corso, a legendary sports analyst who retired from College Game Day and ESPN this week. A few other things we got from this week's paper include the Southern Geological Society took a trip to Red Bluff, and they also have their rock and mineral sale, which happened yesterday, and they have a cookout on May 1st. And then, I always say, like, this is the best paper or whatever. I don't know if this is the best paper ever, but this is probably the best picture we have. And I know she's probably, I can't get this paper to cooperate. I know she's probably not listening or watching, but I want to give a big shout out to our photo editor at the Student Prince. I know I just murdered this paper. Sarah Grace Mine. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see this picture she took of Sunday Sky.
Aw, Sunday.
That's probably the best picture of that dog I've ever seen, or one of the best pictures she's ever taken. So good job there.
It's nice.
A few other things. I'm just going to lay that crumpled up mess over there. few other things. The football announced the hiring of another coach, defensive line coach Eric Matthews. Matthews comes from Eastern Kentucky. Looking forward to what the Golden Eagles have going on in August. First game is against Mississippi State at the Rock. Be there. That wasn't a question. Other things, USM pickleball tournament was held for disaster relief across the state. And then this is something I'm really proud of. Since Southern Miss has joined the Sun Belt Conference a few years ago, we have made our mark. We've won the baseball tournament. We've won the men's basketball tournament. We've won men's baseball 2 years in a row. Hopefully on a track to win it right now. And our women's golf won the Sun Belt Conference Championship. So we have an article about that. But like I said, you can find the student prints, this week's copy, all over campus. Next week will be our final issue of the semester. We'll be back in August, though. But remember, we've still got one next week, so don't miss picking it up. And that's about all I got for this segment. We'll run to a commercial. We'll be right back on the weekly wrap-up with Miss Adeline Fields.
Students face many challenges during the spring semester. National Certified Counselor and Provisional Licensed Professional Counselor Kinsley May says students go through academic burnout.
Academic burnout is a thing because you've been through so much in your fall semester. And if it's your first year as a college student, your academic fall semester is a lot to take in.
May also recommends students different methods to relieve academic stress.
Meditation or deep breathing, coloring the coloring book, taking your mind away from academics. Do something that you're not always pressured to feel like you have to focus on school so much. And the last thing I would say is seek support. If it's with the teacher of your choice, a mentor, a therapist.
Sophomore biological sciences major Vinnie Halsey explains how her seasonal depression affects her course load during the semester.
Maybe it comes from like a sort of seasonal depression, but coming out of January and February, my mental health is kind of like an all-time low for the year, so it's not really helpful when it's combined with trying to pick up new information.
You can text HELLO to 751741 to connect with a trained crisis counselor. Stephanie Perez-Munoz, SM2.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the weekly wrap-up. Again, I'm your host, Andy Borelli, editorial director of the Student Prints, and I'm going to hand the show over to Miss Adeline Fields, our student director of WUSM, the ferry station we're on right now, come to think of it. How you doing today, Adeline?
I'm good. So we had a pretty full week at WUSM this past week. On Monday, we had Andrea Saffel with the Downtown Crawfish Jam. Tuesday, we had Ann McCullen with Edward Street Fellowship Center. Wednesday, we had Chelsea Powers with Lake Thoreau Environmental Center. And Thursday, we had Jay Taylor Wright with the Graduate Directing Studio. For next week, we have coming up Veterans for Peace coming in on Monday. On Tuesday, we have Monica Ferguson with the Counseling Associates of Hattiesburg. Wednesday, we have Kayla Johnson with Moffett Health Center. And Thursday, we have Julia Fols with Counseling Associates of Hattiesburg. So tune in. We're on YouTube live Monday through Thursday at noon. And we have news wraps. We have Mississippi Moments, podcast clips for you, and our interviews. It's always good. So tune in, 88.5 FM.
Awesome. Well, before I jump over to Clara, do we have a few student-run shows this semester? I mean, I know they're probably wrapping up this.
Yeah, so, I mean, next week is our final week of production, so it's just going to be, I think, the Southern Miss Today show Monday through Thursday at noon, and then our weekly wrap-up, our last one. And yeah, and then we have our News You Need segment directly following our weekly wrap-up, so at like 12:30.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for giving us that report on WUSM. Like she said, you can find us here on the radio station if you're listening. If you're watching us on YouTube, usually when you get in your car, you can turn on the radio and tune it to WUSM 88.5 FM. Pretty simple. So now we've gone radio. Let's do the visual side. Go to TV with Miss Clara Hendricks. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing good. I actually woke up at a decent time today.
Wow.
So my part's gonna be a little short because SMTV, our production crew, and our MMJs had a break from SMTV this week because we featured a senior capstone from the School of Media and Communication. One of our very own student leaders was a part of that senior project, Micah Gibbs. So give it up for Micah and his team. So instead of your regularly scheduled episode, we had a special episode that featured that senior capstone. I'd recommend you go watch it. It's really important, very informative. It focuses on the college perspective of politics because there was a lot of things happening after the 2024 election, and it has a lot of different perspectives on it, and they speak about issues that students face and the different potential things that could happen in the future. So I definitely recommend you go watch it. It's on our YouTube channel, and we'll be back with our regular episode next week. So be excited for that.
That sounds good. I would really recommend everybody go watch that episode, that capstone episode. I went to the live premiere, and it was very well done and got some great interviews in it. And every week I'll also look for SMTV. It's always good. News you can use. I like that little rhyme. Well, we're about to duck out, take a quick little break. We'll be back in a minute with Carter Crow in the Stratcom division. We'll see y'all on the other side of the break.
Mississippi legislators have approved of a DEI ban for all public K-12 schools and universities like Southern Miss. Students of USM's NAACP and Afro-American Student Organization came together to hold the In Their Shoes protest march against the DEI ban on April 11th.
So we started this because we wanted to make a change on campus. We wanted them to know that we're not going to let them steamroll us. We're not going to conform to assimilation or anything like that. There's not really that much representation of us out at USM, and we want incoming students to know that we are here and we are fighting.
Dr. Andrew Wiest, a longtime history professor here at USM, shares his uncertainty about how this bill, if passed, could affect him.
To be frank, I don't know how it will impact me personally. Just from an outside reading of it, it looks really restrictive on what I could teach. You know, the history of women, that's in there. The history of civil rights, that's certainly in there. It's part of what happened, and I'm supposed to teach what happened.
This bill leaves many students worried about their education and future here at Southern Miss. Kaylin Fox-Thomas, SM2.
Look through your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in our community. To learn more or get involved, call 601-545-7141. We have one life. To live better, we must live united. In Southeast Mississippi, we stand united for the most vulnerable in our community. Become a game changer and volunteer by calling United Way of Southeast Mississippi at 601-545-7141. We have one life. To live better, we must live united.
Estos son los sonidos de una cena que casi no sucedió. Es una cena servida gracias a personas como tú. Debido a la crisis actual, 50 millones de personas pueden vivir con hambre este año. Feeding America está ayudando a los que más lo necesitan. Y si quieres, tú puedes ayudar también. Visita feedingamerica.org/en-español. Patrocinado por el Ad Council y Feeding America, la fuerza de 200 bancos de alimentos.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the SM2 Weekly Wrap Up. We're getting ready to close up the show, but before I close it up, got one more person I got to talk to. Sitting right here at the edge of the table, this handsome man down here. Carter Crow, how you doing today?
You flatter me too much.
Well, I try.
I'm doing well today, Andy. Well, I would like to shamelessly plug, like I do every week, our Instagram, because
That's
I
your
have
job.
an exciting announcement. Today, approximately 14 minutes ago, because it is 12:14, the first episode of Somewhere with Sophia, our brand new creative / Stratcom TV episode, is out now on our social media.
We were watching it over the break.
Let me
That's
tell
awesome.
y'all something. I am so excited. I am enthralled. I am over the top about this because this is the first television show style content that the Stratcom team has been able to make. And like I said, we had the lovely help of the creative division, which was, when I say very important to us, we needed that help, but everything came out so well, so wonderful. It stars Miss Sophia Vetrano, and basically the concept of the show is Sophia goes somewhere and tries something. We want to use this show as a way to get on-campus organizations and clubs to, really be able to have a highlight in Southern and have
spotlight them, show what they do. What's it like to be
Exactly.
a part of this organization? Sophia is also one of our lovely multimedia journalists here at SM2. She brings us a lot of stories each week. So the stories you see in the newspaper, on radio, on TV, she is the journalist for some of those. So.
And if you
This
want
is
to
the
see,
segment of a show where we praise an MMJ.
yes, it's just 100% praising Miss Sophia. But let me tell you, she deserves it. This week, I'm going to say this week. This week, Sophia got to go to a fraternity and learn what it's like to be a part of a fraternity and see what actively, participating in a philanthropy event for a fraternity looks like. And we have all of that recorded, shot, and videoed, and we are ready to give it to y'all. It's up on our Instagram at SM2.usm. Is one of our first posts, and I'm very, very excited about it. So if any of you listeners want to go out, check out Sophia, check out anything else that we're doing, like I said, drop us a follow, drop us a like, drop us a look at sm2.usm on Instagram, but we are also on Facebook and now X. So same tagline, sm2.usm for all platforms. But other than that, that really wraps up this weekly wrap up for me.
Well, thank you, Carter. That's good. And everybody, I just want to put out there one more time as we start to close up, you can find the student prints and bins all across campus every Thursday. I usually have them put out by 4:30 every Thursday. I know it's kind of late, but ain't nothing better than a morning paper and an evening paper. So you can pretty much find them all across campus by 4:30 on Thursday. You can find Southern Miss Today here on WUSM and also on YouTube at 12 o'clock every day, Monday through Thursday. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And you can find Southern Miss TV. It's a long day. You can find Southern Miss TV on YouTube every Thursday at 10 a.m.
At 10 a.m.
And you can also find us on all of our platforms like Carter just lined out for us.
Facebook, Instagram, and X at sm2.usm, baby.
And that's just about every single day. They do some great stuff. But it's about time. It's about that time, y'all. We're going to back on out of here. We'll
back on out of here.
Well, how's you want? We're about to have to head out. How about that?
There we go.
So we'll see y'all next week. We're gone.
This has been the Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap Up. A look at the events Southern Miss Student Media has covered throughout the week and the events Southern Miss Student Media is working on for next week. The Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap Up airs Fridays at noon on Southern Miss Radio. We'll see you next week for the Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap Up.